So hi everyone, thanks for coming along to this session on using Gen AI at Curtin. My name is Amy, I'm one of the librarians here at Curtin Library. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this place that we call Australia and recognise the many nations who have looked after country for more than 60,000 years. I'm honoured and grateful for the privilege to learn and teach in Boorloo, and I pay my respects to elders past and present. Now, as we go along, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I'll answer them as we go. Otherwise, let's get started. So today we'll go through what Gen AI actually is, how it's trained, some considerations that you should keep in mind if you're going to use it, Gen AI use at Curtin, like what is allowed, what isn't allowed, that sort of thing, and some tips for prompting. So what do you know about AI? How much do you know about how it works? Is anyone currently using AI? Has anyone not used AI before? Not used it, they told me to research it, never used it, not much use of AI, limited knowledge. Okay, cool. That's all good to know. Haven't used it. Nice, okay. Are you looking to use it in future, or are you just here to learn about how it's used at Curtin? Oh, doing an assignment on it. Cool, Lindsay. As in you're doing an assignment about AI, or you are able to use AI in your assignment, or both? Assignment about AI, yeah, okay. I'll use it in the future for teaching resources. Cool, Kerry, there's a lot of resources out there for it. Haven't used it yet, but you're using AI in an assignment. Yeah, cool. How do we approach being more transparent when citing use of AI in our research work? I will go through how to reference it as well. I'll show you the information there too. What are the rules? Doing an HDR project specifically about Gen AI. Nice. So yeah, we'll go through some rules. We'll go through how to cite it, like how to incorporate it into your work if you are able to use it. And I'll show you where to go for that information too, because there's a bunch of resources on our uni skills site and things like that. All right, cool. So for those that said you don't use it much or you've never used it, you've probably used it without realizing. So, or at least AI as a broader topic rather than specifically generative AI. Because all of these things in front of us use AI to some extent. So customer service chatbots, gaming, or everything that recommends you something. So Spotify, Netflix, those recommendations are based on patterns that they've recognized in your use. And so then the AI recommends you things based on those patterns. Google Maps, navigation apps, they all use AI. Self-driving cars, virtual assistants, all of these are some form of AI. But generative AI is a form of artificial intelligence that uses data and information to generate new content. So the other more broad sense of AI, it's not necessarily generating new content, while generative AI does. And its responses, like the recommendations from Netflix and Spotify, they're generated by prediction. So they're trying to predict the next word in a sentence based on the information that it's been trained with. So, for example, if your text is how are, the most likely third word from the AI would be you, because it knows that normally, predictably, we normally say how are you. If I did a survey of everyone here and asked you to finish a sentence, and the sentence was the sun is, and there are what, 15-ish people here, say 5 of you said hot and the other 10 said yellow, and we fed that into an AI or a generative AI tool and asked the AI to finish the sentence, the sun is, for us, it would come back with yellow because that's the most likely answer based on the information that has been trained with. So some keywords that may come up when you're looking at Gen AI are the input is the information that you enter into a Gen AI tool. It's the same as prompt, so we've got prompt on the list there as well. It's anything that you're putting in to the Gen AI in order to get some sort of output from it. The model is an AI program that uses data to recognize patterns and make decisions. So like OpenAI, it's a model. The output is the data or information created by the Gen AI tool. So the response that it gives you for your prompt or your input. And then tokens. So tokens are units of text that the AI has processed from your prompt. So it just breaks it up into these tokens before it brings these tokens together to create a response. So the journey a prompt takes, I guess we can say. Step 1 would be giving the prompt to the AI tool. So it's an initial question that you've sent into it. It splits it up into these phrases and words called tokens. It then analyzes the context behind it. So it'll look at previous messages that you've spoken about. It'll look at the information that it's been trained on and try and create a context around your prompt. It'll then try and predict the most likely response that you are looking for based on that context. It'll then construct the response. So it's based on that probability again, and then spit out an answer for you. So the data that it's been trained on, it's all human written content. So it's all online text databases. So it's been given or trained on books, web text, Wikipedia, Reddit, online forums, open access, articles, blog posts, pretty much anything that's free to air on the internet has been fed into OpenAI. So for example, ChatGPT 3.5, so we're 4.0 now, but 3.5 was trained using 570 gigabytes of online text, which is equal to 300 billion words, which is an insane amount of data. And it's all just been fed into this machine. So AI learns in 3 different ways. So there's supervised learning method, which means that you've shown the AI an example and you're telling it the answers. So it's learning to make these predictions and sort things based on what it has seen before and what we've told it. So we've shown them examples of what a cat looks like, and we've told them this is a cat. So we're telling it what it is, and then later on we can ask, okay, what does a cat look like based on those predictions, based on the things that we've told it, and based on what it has seen before, it spits out what it thinks a cat looks like. So unsupervised is another method. The algorithm finds patterns, structures, and groupings within data sets without explicit guidance. So we're not necessarily saying, here, look at this cat. We're giving it multiple pieces of information and we're grouping them, but we're not telling the AI explicitly what these things are. It's just learning from those patterns and from those groupings that we've done. And then reinforcement is another method. So the algorithm learns by taking actions and receiving feedback. So if we give it an image and say, what is this? And it comes back dog, we say, no, that's wrong. And so it learns that that's not a dog. And it aims to figure out the best strategies for achieving the highest rewards. So some considerations we should keep in mind when we use it. Big ones, copyright, bias, accuracy, and privacy. So copyright, you can only upload your own work or something that you have permission to use. So that includes anything that you've written. Keep in mind that when you give something to an AI, it most of the time, depending on the tool, but most of the tools will assume that that is now part of its training and it will use it as it wants to. So in most cases, copyrighted material such as published books and scholarly articles should not be shared with AI at all. So you shouldn't be uploading a journal article and asking it to summarize it for you because you didn't write that journal article. You cannot just give it to an AI. You also can't upload any Curtin University materials as they are owned by Curtin. So it's the IP that belongs to the university. So stuff like unit outlines, any materials that are produced by your academics, so by your lecturer, by your tutor, PowerPoints, notes they've given you, anything that they've written, those should not be fed into any Gen AI tool. So a little question here, if I wrote a book using ChatGPT, who owns the final product and gets the profits? Is it me, the person who prompted the tool? Is it the owners of ChatGPT? Is it ChatGPT itself, like the tool? Does that own the book? Or is it the authors of the original data? What do we reckon? We've got a couple of people saying the original authors. Another one saying ChatGPT. Oh, a few saying ChatGPT. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Anna. People are selling them on, Amazon. I knew what you meant. And yeah, the prompter is getting money, but that is extremely unethical because they are they're getting money using other people's work. So this book would be ideally copyrighted to the authors of the original data. So ChatGPT can't own anything itself because it doesn't think for itself. It's not its own entity. And some tools like Napkin AI actively say like anything that it produces is open to be used by the public, right? So it's not owned by the tool. But the book that has been written using ChatGPT has used the copyrighted material of other authors. So the book would, in theory, belong to the authors of the original data. Even though the prompter, as you said, Anna, is profiting from that. So bias is the big one because everything that the Gen AI tool gives you is based on the things that it has been trained on. If that data doesn't contain the viewpoint of everybody, then it's only going to give you a particular viewpoint, right? So it reflects that bias and the prejudice of the data it was trained on. For example, there is underrepresented data of women or minority groups, which definitely skews predictive AI algorithms. And then criminal justice system AIs relying on historical arrest data, which can reinforce existing patterns of racial profiling. So there's a big example of bias is when you ask it for anything related to First Nations peoples, it can't handle it because the data that we have on those groups isn't sufficient to train something like an AI tool. So it is extremely biased and can be quite racist, depending on what you ask of it. So it's always best to be careful, or to keep in mind the things you're asking an AI to do. So for example, we asked a tool to give us a picture of a nurse. That was our prompt, and it's given us this. What do we notice? They're all women, yep. They're mostly women of color. Yeah. The next one, we asked for a photo of a CEO. What do we think we got? You are correct. All men, all weirdly blue. All of them, or most of them white. Yeah. Not as old as we were expecting, Anna, but yeah, that is generally the bias towards it, isn't it? So again, we asked for a superhero from each of these countries. A superhero from Cambodia, a superhero from Papua New Guinea, and a superhero from Bhutan. Does anyone notice anything wrong with these? Not common as in it wouldn't have a lot of, yeah, they're unknown. Yeah, American flag, D, definitely. So they're all very American looking, as in like the iconography that's included in the uniform or the costume. Yeah, they all look like those superheroes that are the main superheroes we know about, right? So a lot of them, I think all of them, don't include the correct colors. Bhutan isn't even wearing clothing from Bhutan. I think it was from Thailand. So it's important to keep the bias in mind. Privacy is another big one. So again, kind of linking to copyright, it's important to keep an eye on what you actually do put into an AI. As we said, you're allowed to put in anything that you've written, but keep in mind that that now can be used by the AI in any way. So you can come up when someone else has asked a question, your work could come up, right? So we highly recommend removing all personal information before sharing anything with an AI, because removing it from the AI once you've shared it is extremely difficult, because this could just be willy-nilly shared with other users. So consider whether you would be comfortable with the information being shared with a wide audience. You can also check the privacy and the settings within the AI tool. Most of them will have a little privacy policy that you can read. You can also ask the tool itself, what is your privacy policy? Like, what are you doing with my data or with my prompts? So ask yourself, are your prompts being used to train the AI model? And how is your data being stored, and can it be deleted if needed? So check the tool that you're using and how you're using it as well. Are you using a free version? Are you paying for it? Are you using something like Copilot through Curtin, which has a little more protection there, but it's still, as far as we know, is quite open. And then accuracy. Gen AI, as we said before, it doesn't think for itself, so it can't think critically. It's not going to give you the best possible answer. It's going to give you the most likely answer, which isn't always accurate. So Gen AI produced content can sound professional. You are still considered the expert. It's still up to you to check the information that it gives you, and it will invent fake information. It always does. It hallucinates information all the time. and you should fact check any important information to ensure that it's correct. Even stuff like references is a big one. People ask it for references or ask it for journal articles, and because it knows what a journal article looks like, or it knows what a reference should look like, it knows that it needs a surname and then a first initial and the date that it was published and then the title. It knows that it has these things and it can create a reference that looks good. But then you check that information against the other information within the reference, and that reference won't exist. So it's just stuff like that, like it's spitting out something that looks like the things that it's been trained on, but those things don't necessarily exist. So always check the output, no matter what it is, because it will give you fake information. So some examples, just using Google's AI overview that now pops up unless you ask it not to. So we asked how to get cheese to stick to pizza, like the cheese isn't sticking to the pizza, what do we do? And it's told us to add glue to the sauce to give it more tackiness. Because again, it's been trained on data that says, hey, glue is sticky, glue can help stick things. But it's not thinking about, oh wait, this is pizza, people aren't going to eat that. Also, just a ridiculous question, how many rocks should I eat? And AI has told us that we need to eat at least one small rock per day, as it contains minerals and vitamins that are important for digestive health. Again, that's not something that we should be doing, but it's just taken all of this data and gone, oh, well, obviously they want this answer. It's a good warning down the bottom there that eating rocks can also crack or traumatize your teeth though. So it's nice that it gives us things to consider. Another example, 2 US lawyers were fined for submitting fake court citations from ChatGPT. So they've asked the chatbot to give them examples that they can use, and it's, again, created these cases that don't exist, but they look real because it knows what a legal case should look like. So always check the information that it gives you. So we gave it another prompt, portrait of an American. It did all right, you know, there's some diversity there. We gave it another prompt asking for a portrait of an Australian. What do you think it gave us? The same, so again, just a diverse group. Oh, Crocodile Dundee. Farm is a good one. It gave us 4 photos of a koala. Because again, the data that it's been trained on, this is just what it knows. So there's always bias, always check, and always consider what you're putting into it. Do you own it? And if you do own it, are you happy for the AI to use it? Also, big environmental concerns. Training OpenAI's GPT-3, so again, we're on 4 now, but just training it consumed the equivalent of just under 1,300 megawatts of electricity, so about as much power as consumed annually by 130 US homes, or 1,625,000 hours of watching Netflix. There was another one that said the amount of power used when using ChatGPT last year in the US, so within 2024, just using ChatGPT used the same amount of power that would be used to power the whole of Thailand for a year. So keep in mind what you're using it for. and whether you need to use it for that particular thing, because it uses an insane amount of power. And there's a lot of information we don't know about how OpenAI uses power, just because they won't tell us. So yeah, just keep it in mind. Now, at Curtin, GenAI can be used for anything personal, so any study-related purposes, anything that you want to use it for yourself, go for it. It cannot be used for assessments, though, unless permission has been granted by your unit coordinator in writing. So it'll usually be on your unit outline. If you're unsure, just ask them, like, hey, are we allowed to use AI in this? So check those guidelines and ensure it's allowed before you use it. If you have permission to use it in an assessment, again, just for assignments, you should document your use. So this includes screenshots, saving all the work produced. So that includes any input that you gave it, so the prompts that you used, the output that it gave back to you, so any of the answers, and then why you used it as well. You must also, again, review the accuracy of the statements and sources using those critical reading strategies. So looking into what it's given you, whether it's actually real, whether it's true, and just double check it against other sources of information. So other articles, other websites, just check the accuracy every time. And then you need to acknowledge and reference the use via both an in-text citation and a declaration after your reference list. So the same way you would reference articles or websites, AI has its own referencing as well. I'll show you where to go for that. So in uni skills, you may have seen the referencing pages. So I'll go to APA just for predictability's sake. But in all of the referencing pages, so Chicago, AGLC, Vancouver, even IEEE, I think, they all have under other sources, there is generative artificial intelligence. So this is how you would reference your GenAI use. So it's got an example of a declaration there, and you just include, you acknowledge that you used a particular tool, you've used the tool to assist with any of these ones. You just choose the ones that you used it for, choose the ones that apply, and then you include the prompts afterwards as well. And then you would also have the in-text citation and the reference list entry, again, like any other reference. So a reference list example would be the model, and then the tool that you used, when you used it, plus your declaration, and your in-text citation would be that model and then the year. So again, just like any other reference that you need to include, this one just also has that declaration with all the extra information about why you used it, how you used it, and what it gave you. While we're here, actually, there's another page on under digital. So again, still in uni skills. Under digital, we've got our GenAI information page here. So we've got how to use it, like the information that we've gone through today. How to evaluate the output. So it's got some information there about what you should check for, and how to investigate the tool that you're using. Again, you can just ask the tool, like, what data were you trained on? What's the cutoff date for your knowledge? Because that's a big thing as well. Not a lot of them will be up to date, especially if you're using the free versions. And then how to incorporate it. So again, if you're allowed to use it, there's just more information there about referencing, how to include the declaration and then some links to the referencing pages as well. Any questions about any of that? You all good? Cool. Alrighty. So yes, document your use, check that it's correct, acknowledge and reference. So some other things to keep in mind. Turnitin will detect AI written material. It just will. And then it's a process to try and to go through anything that has been detected. Don't use GenAI to edit your assessments either. Use Curtin's version of Grammarly. Does everyone know how to find that if they want to use it? It's in Blackboard. Yep, cool. Blackboard, then institution page on the left-hand side, scroll down to library and support, or library and study support, and there'll be a link in there. The tabs are not on the Oasis page, where are they? Which tabs are you referring to, Tanya? Like the main ones with Blackboard and everything? Because if they're missing, you might have to ask Curtin Connect. But for the Grammarly tab specifically, it won't be in Oasis. You need to go into Blackboard, click on institution page, which is at the top on the left-hand side, and then scroll down a little to library and study support. And there'll be a link to Grammarly in there. And the Curtin approved version of Grammarly doesn't have any GenAI in it. Oh, the referencing and digital tabs. No. Okay, so they are in Uni Skills. So they're not in Oasis themselves. So there should be a link to Uni Skills in Oasis, but Uni Skills is a separate website. Hang on, I'll put the link in the chat. There we go. So this is our Uni Skills website, and then yeah, the referencing and the digital tabs will have your GenAI information. Alrighty, so what can you use it for? Stuff that isn't allowed. You can't upload any copyrighted content. You can't include any uni materials. You can't upload any journal articles, any other text, anything that you haven't written. No worries, Tanya. So what requires permission? So any part of your assessment, writing it, rewriting it, paraphrasing it, summarizing it, anything that you're going to submit into Turnitin, you need permission for. Researching information to be used in assessments, you need permission. Providing feedback before assessment submission. So if you use it to provide feedback on anyone else's work, answering or checking online test questions, creating presentations, translating assessments into English as well. All of these things will be picked up by Turnitin, and you need permission to do them. Finding mistakes in problems and code and calculations, anything you're being assessed on, and then transcription services as well. So what is generally allowed? Again, anything that's personal to you. So creating a study schedule for yourself, breaking down tasks, organizing group projects, identifying alternate keywords to assist with searching. So you're not asking the AI to do the search for you, you're asking it for keywords, which you can then use to go and do your own search, either in the catalogue or a database. Explaining difficult concepts, theories, or maths problems. So you can ask it to break something down for you or to explain something to you in, say, a paragraph or a few dot points, or explain something to you like your 5. That's always a good one. Creating revision questions and practice problems. So you can go to it and say, I would like to study for XYZ. Please give me 10 revision questions that I can use. Troubleshooting programs as well. Again, this is stuff that you can just Google, but if you have a specific problem and you can't find the information, you could say, how do I adjust this table in Word, something like that. Role-playing scenarios is a good one as well, especially if you're going on, say, a job interview. You can ask it to take on the role of an interviewer. Make sure to give it some context first, though. And then writing emails and interpreting assessment feedback. So if you've received feedback and you're not sure maybe what a word means or what they're trying to tell you, an AI can help with that. I would suggest, though, double checking with the person that gave you the feedback, just in case they didn't mean what the AI said they mean, you know? So if you did want to use it for any sort of studying scenario, you can use something like this. This is a template we've created. You can say, I am a university student currently studying education, for example, and have this scenario. Please help me by doing this task. So you're giving it a role, or you're giving it some context. You're telling it what you need. You're giving it some sort of parameters, like including additional elements or information for context, and then asking it to provide the answer in a specific tone or format. So it's like I said with the dot points, or you could say in a professional tone, in a friendly tone. So for example, I'm a university level student. Please help me understand the relationship between taxation and business taxpayers, breaking down the key elements and providing examples. Please include information relating to an Australian context. Provide your answer in a short paragraph using simple language that a high schooler can understand. So you've given it some context, you've told it what you're trying to learn, you've asked it to break it down for you using an Australian context, and asked that it be in a short paragraph that a high schooler could understand. So it's giving it some parameters to work within. Otherwise, it's just gonna give you everything. It's just going to do what it wants to an extent. Another example could be, please help me discover alternative search terms for the following terms or keywords. So if you've already done a search, you're not coming up with much, but you also don't really know how to expand your search to get more information, give it the keywords you've been using and ask it for alternatives. So shall we have a go? We suggest using Copilot because it's a common tool at Curtin. You get access to it using your Curtin details. So if you log in with your Curtin credentials, same way you get access to other Microsoft Office programs like Word and Excel, you get access to Microsoft Office 365. So Copilot is just a part of that. I'll give you maybe 5 minutes. Has anyone used Copilot before? No? A couple of people have. Nice. I'll get mine up. is a bit about what it looks like. I am logged in. So it has your previous conversations over here. Similar to any other general tool, really. So far, ChatGPT, Gemini, Cider, and Perplexity. Nice. ChatGPT is the one that's used the most, we've found, among students. Which is fair, it was the one that was around first. Copilot is just Microsoft's version of that. So what did we have? So let's say I have a 1500 word assignment due on what are we? 17th, say the 25th of June. Generate a schedule for me in a table format so I can get my assignment completed a week early. Let's say the 25th of July. Allowing time for research, reading, writing, and editing. So it's given me this table. It's told me, okay, between now and the 24th, you should be researching, reading, maybe identify a topic, gather sources, take notes, outline an initial draft in that first week, or that last week of June, sorry, first week of July, keep writing, edit and refine, and then final review before the 18th, and then you've still got a week. It's not bad, it's not super detailed, but it's a nice starting point. Oh, Diaz, tell me a joke about cats. Why do cats always get their way? Because they're persuasive. Cats have mastered the art of persuasion, especially when they want food or a comfy spot on your laptop. Want another one? I've noticed in the last couple of months, it started giving me like a question back, which it never used to. So would you like a daily breakdown or a downloadable version of this schedule? So the last maybe 2 or 3 months, start of the year, it wasn't asking me questions back. So it's becoming more conversational, which is interesting. Monique says, tell me a joke. Why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have the guts. Nice. Another one, maybe themed around animals, tech, or something else. So it's asking more specific questions. Well, asking you for more information, which is kind of cool. There are also specific tools, so stuff like I'm having trouble understanding a concept. Can you explain this to me using simple terms and examples? There's also things like Goblin tools, which have a professor option. They call it a professor, where you can say, explain this concept to me, and it'll spit stuff out. So it'll all depend on the tool you're using as well, because some tools won't be trained for that specific thing that you're asking it to do, right? So something like Copilot or ChatGPT, they're quite general, but they're not really built for, say, research. So that's why it spits out references that don't make any sense. While if you use an AI that's within, say, ProQuest, like inside a database, or something like Perplexity was mentioned earlier by Basil, they're more built around research, so they can help you a little more. Again, if you're allowed to use it for your assessment. But so there are different tools out there that might be based around note making or like helping you organize your notes. There are other ones that are built for images. So Adobe Firefly is probably going to create a better image than, say, Copilot, just because that's what it's been built for, you know? So always check the tool that you're using as well. So some key points from today. GenAI is not a scholarly or reputable source. All responses require you to review them and check them for accuracy every single time. It can be used freely for study or personal tasks. Go for your life. Permission is required to use it for assessments. Always get it in writing. And if you can't find it in your unit guidelines anywhere, just ask your unit coordinator. And it's a tool to support and boost your own intelligence. So you're still considered the expert. You're still the person that is producing this work. And it shouldn't be used at a detriment to your own skill set, right? So it's a tool that you can use, a tool for your arsenal, but it shouldn't replace the things that you're trying to learn. Ben has another joke for us. Why did the little person get kicked out of the news suddenly? Because they kept getting in everyone's hair. Oof, that is not great. But yes, whenever you use it, if you do use it, if you're allowed to use it, you do all those checks first and then declare that you've used it, how and why. Well, how and then all the prompts that you've used within it. So some other possible options that you could use it for. Budgeting, meal planning is a good one. Again, Goblin Tools has a specific tool for like recipe building. You put in all the ingredients that you have in your house and it'll give you an option. They're not always going to be good, but you know, some of them might look like the glue option from earlier, but you know, again, just check these things before you work through them. Any personal communication, so it can help you write an email. It can help you adjust the tone of an email if you need to change it in any way. It can build an exercise routine for you. It can help you prepare for job interviews or any other role playing. It can help you with travel plans, and it can help you organize your thoughts as well. So Mem is a good one for note taking and can help organize any notes that you have, and again, anything that you're willing to share with it. And then some resources. So the GenAI guide from earlier, Google Odd One Out as well. It's a cute little experiment. AI Dungeon is a game you can play, and then Grammarly as well. So again, only Curtin's approved version is okay for use within your assessments, because any generative AI from Grammarly will be picked up by Turnitin as well. Any other questions? That's pretty much all I've got for you today. But finished a little early, so we've got time if anyone has anything they'd like to bring up, anything they'd like to ask about, anything I haven't covered today that you need covered. No worries. Thanks for coming. Good luck with your studies. If you do have any feedback, please let me know. This is actually the first time we're running workshops at this time of the year, so specifically for or to line up with OUA. No worries. How do you go to Copilot? You can just Google it, but I will put the link in the chat as well. Let's find it first. Here we go. So that'll take you to Copilot. You can, again, sign in with your Curtin credentials. Yeah, sure, Mike. And I'm going to stop the recording now.